Everybody talks about stress like it's just a part of being an adult. They say, that's life, or welcome to the real world. And yeah, in some situations, stress makes sense. Stress is unavoidable. But nobody tells you how it quietly destroys your ability to think clearly, make good decisions, or even enjoy the small moments that used to bring you peace. And maybe, just maybe, you're feeling it right now. Maybe it's because your boss put a boatload of demands right on your desk at 4 p.m. just last night. Or maybe it's because you've got 5 different bills to pay, but only enough money to pay 3 of them. Or maybe, just maybe, you have this unexplainable feeling deep within the pit of your stomach that what you're doing on a day-to-day basis isn't fulfilling to you. And you so desperately want to change so badly that it's creating this overwhelming stress. This weighs on you like a boulder. And it holds you down when you so desperately just want to move. And this creates anxiety, mental fog, and even sometimes hopelessness. These feelings can be so strong that your motivation completely disappears. Now, of course, you can't eliminate stress completely. But the good news is, you can develop the skills and adopt the mental models that allow you to face whatever adversity you're facing and not feel so stressed out by it. So in today's video, we'll be discussing what those mental models are and how you can effectively integrate them within your life. But before we dive into those mental models, we're going to discuss the types of stress and how they affect your brain and body. The first kind is acute stress. These are those short-term situations that come and go quickly. Some examples would be a physical confrontation, running away from a bear in the middle of the woods, or being in a car accident, God forbid. In these situations, your brain releases a bunch of chemicals that influence the way your body reacts to that given situation. The main chemicals are epinephrine and norepinephrine, and this gives you more energy so you can physically react to whatever that acute stressor is. When this happens, your primal brain takes over. The only thing that's on your mind is survive. Your brain thinks, do I fight, do I run away, or do I freeze in place? These are those survival mechanisms that are so deeply ingrained into your nervous system. From an evolutionary standpoint, they have allowed our ancestors to survive for all these years through all these hardships. And that instinctual way of thinking is still deep within you. Now, this kind of stress is perfectly okay. Because eventually, once you're out of that situation, whatever it is, your body goes back to homeostasis. This is its normal functioning. And as long as you're not always in these situations where you'd be facing acute stress, then that's okay. You're good. Because the other kind of stress, which is very dangerous to the human body and brain, is chronic stress. This is the kind of stress that lingers around for a long period of time and is always creeping beneath the surface. Oftentimes, chronic stress starts with one incident. And this incident usually has nothing to do with a physical threat to your body. After all, most stress that you and I face in today's modern world is psychological or emotional. And these kind of stressors often contribute to chronic stress way more than any kind of acute stress can. So some examples of psychological or emotional stress would be your job lays people off and you wonder if it'll eventually happen to you. Your car begins having issues and the mechanics want to charge you thousands of dollars to fix it. Your parent gets sick and this requires you to take care of them for a while. I could go on, but you get the point. These are those everyday things that could happen to any of us. And while the issue has nothing to do with our physical survival right here, right now, the psychological and emotional burden carries a heavy load on our shoulders. And one problem stacks on top of the other. And it keeps going and going and going until we have this big mountain of stress. Now, here's the interesting thing. Your brain and body react the same way, regardless of whether you're facing a acute physical stressor or a long-term psychological stressor. It releases the same chemicals and your body responds in the same manner. And from there, you become an anxious wreck. You experience brain fog. You make poor decisions. Your health declines. When we're in chronic stress mode, most of the blood flow to the brain is diverted to the hindbrain and midbrain and away from the forebrain, which is our higher cognitive center. We unconsciously react instead of consciously planning our actions. The toll the stress takes on your brain is so significant that it affects all areas of your life. And oftentimes when people are stressed out, when we're super anxious, we fall into the same patterns, the same routines, day after day after day, even if those patterns and routines don't serve us. This is why people who are chronically stressed out tend to have really bad habits that they can't seem to escape from. Think drinking, smoking, watching too much TV, binge eating. The list goes on and on and on. And oftentimes, when we're stuck in those same patterns and routines, then that means unconsciously, your brain reacts to those situations within those routines and those patterns in the same stressed out manner. Okay, so now that you understand the types of stress and how they affect your body in essentially the same manner, let's discuss those mental models and how you can apply them within your very own life right now. So the first one is collapsing the mental timeline. When dealing with a situation that is kind of stressful to you, it's very easy to get lost in your emotions. And when you're emotional, you make poor choices because your critical thinking brain is turned off. And oftentimes, you're putting yourself into the future, imagining all the bad things that could happen, all the outcomes that you'll experience, and how difficult it'll be to overcome whatever this problem is. Stop doing that. When you're in a situation that is causing you some sort of discomfort and maybe even stress, stop thinking about what's going to happen way down the line. Just be here now. Collapse the timeline. Because oftentimes anxiety and stress gets even worse when we think about what might happen. Keep this in mind. Nothing ever happened in the past. It happened in the now. Nothing will ever happen in the future. It will happen in the now. The future is an abstraction. The past is a memory. Mental model number 2, getting into your body. All psychological and emotional stress comes from the mind. That is the epicenter of that kind of chaos. But once you can collapse that mental timeline, like I mentioned, get into your body and determine that next step. From there, you gotta act. Any kind of action creates momentum. And momentum, hopefully in a positive direction, reduces your stress. Because you know that, all right, whatever problem I'm facing in this very moment that could be causing me stress, I can take action right here, right now to alleviate whatever it is I'm experiencing. And so long as you don't rush with that action, so long as you don't have these ridiculously high expectations, then it will work out. The next mental model that has saved my ass a bunch of times whenever I feel myself really stressing out, zooming out. So after you've collapsed the timeline, gotten into your body, determined your course of actions and actually taken action, then sit down, relax, and assess where you're at. Reflect on what you've done and just calm yourself down. Once you've done that, close your eyes and just imagine zooming out. Imagine seeing your life from a bird's eye view. And at this point, logically consider the significance of this problem within your life. Maybe it feels like a massive problem right now, but will it be a massive problem to you a year from now? How about a month from now? How about next week? I get it. Some problems will still be around a year from now, or a month from now, or a week from now. That's life. But in many cases, what you learn is that whatever you're stressed out about right here and right now won't have that big of an effect on your life, even just a little bit into the future. And that within itself is powerful, because you realize that in the grand scheme of your entire life, this is simply one drop in the ocean. That's it. Now, of course, these mental models are not a magic pill. They require attention, effort, and even consistency, but you now have them within your back pocket. You can now use these whenever you're facing a situation that typically causes you to freak out, or a problematic event that might cause you stress further down the line. You can collapse the mental timeline. You can get deep into your body. You can think logically about your next steps. And you can boldly take action on whatever it is you gotta do. And from there, you can zoom out and see your life from a bird's eye view. And while there, you can determine, all right, does this problem really have as big of an effect on my life in the grand scheme of things that I currently think it does? Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe while you're here. I'm putting out videos all the time. And if you're a busy entrepreneur or a high-performing professional that always feels stressed out and overburdened, and this is costing you your mental clarity and you're overthinking and you're not being as productive while in the workplace or doing whatever it is you got to do, then consider checking out the link below to work with me one-on-one. I help folks just like you learn the tools and the skills you need to reduce that stress, maintain mental clarity, and sustain peak performance in your everyday life. Alrighty then, I will see you in the next video. Bye.